Hello, everybody, and welcome to Eye of Soul Radio. I am Psychic Medium Jaime, and today launches my show, Eye of Soul Radio. So I'm super excited to be doing this with all of you. Your support and your love for Shades of Spirit, which is also another show that we work with at Transformation Talk Radio, has been just heartwarming. And I was so excited to be able to branch out and do a show on the levels of spirit that I work with. But first and foremost, I want to take a minute out. Today is Veterans Day, right? So in the United States, we celebrate Veterans Day. So what we want to say from Eye of Soul Radio is to all the veterans of all branches, thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your bravery. To all those who served and continued to serve, thank you. And I feel like we should just take a moment and just send those veterans out there some love and light and healing energy. I know, speaking from experience, my dad is a veteran, so I'd like to send him a little bit of that loving energy as well. It's a time of reflection for a lot, so we just wanted to say thank you. And with that being said, let me do a quick introduction about myself for those of you who are unfamiliar with who I am. I am a world-renowned psychic medium. I have been connecting with spirit for over 40 years. I'm a mother first and foremost. I am the co-owner of Shades of Spirit LLC. I'm a spiritual connector. I love meditations. I love being someone that can help people manifest, which I've done in my own life. So being able to carry that over. I love the fact that women entrepreneurs out there, that's definitely, something that I hold true, that I had this goal for so long to do, and now I'm here, and I know I'm very blessed to be in that space as well. I want to thank the people, honestly, who helped me with this, my tribe, my partner in crime, working with spirit and humans alike, and being able to discuss topics like what we're going to talk about today, which is I wish you were here, right? So with that being said, let me get myself set up there. I love it. So first of all, I want to get into the topic for just a second, and then we can take caller number one. A lot of us have that time where we just reflect during the holiday season or birthdays or anniversaries or just, the anniversary of the passing of a loved one. And we start to feel that ache set in and the tears start to kind of well up. Sometimes anger will come up, right? Because sometimes passings of loved ones maybe didn't end on that high loving note like you see in the movies where everyone is around and holding hands. Maybe there was some unfinished business with you and the person that passed. We forget sometimes that even though our loved ones may not be here in the physical form, they are totally with us during the spirit form, right? They don't leave. They're there. They're helped to support us. So, one of the most common ways I offer suggestions for clients, and this is all through spirit. So, spirit has given me these ideas and has asked me to convey those to my clients and to you, the listeners, is that we should be able to be in a space to where we can all still be together, even if they're not here in the physical form. So the first thing I want to talk about, and then we'll take the first caller, is place setting. So if you have a loved one who has passed and you are looking to want to connect, and you have a space to where usually you all gather around the Thanksgiving table if you celebrate Thanksgiving, or the holiday of your choice, and everyone kind of has the same type of seating arrangements. Maybe you've got the kid table on the side. Yes, I'm speaking from experience. Sometimes I'd almost go sit at the kid table than the adult table, but that's a whole nother show. But I want us to think about setting that person a place setting, right? And maybe if it's someone who we have some unfinished business and unresolved to do with them, maybe we set them a space outside of the kitchen table, but still acknowledging them and know that we're working on healing on both sides of it. So for me, for Thanksgiving, it's going to be a time where I take the morning and I do a spiritual invite, if you will. And I will call in the loved ones that I wish to join me and my family for that day. And once you do this, you start to feel their presence around you throughout the day, right? And when I do this, I will have my great grandma, and my family doesn't come into to my energy very, excuse me, very often. But my great grandmother is that one that's got the hand mixer with the potatoes. Like if you're making mashed potatoes, hey, guess what? That's like taboo for her. It's supposed to be hand mashed. And I knew the year that she passed that when I was standing over that kitchen counter making those potatoes with that hand mixer, and it gets me emotional even to this day that she was standing there with me and she wanted to make sure that those potatoes were done right. And I could feel her and I could hear her being like, "What on earth do you think you're doing? This is an abomination to the mashed potatoes. You're not going to have the lumps." I didn't get the eyes out of the potatoes. So, those of you that cook, you understand what a big deal that is, especially for my great grandmother's generation. And I did it my way, but she was there with me. And then we had a spot set for her to join us in that meal because Thanksgiving was one of her favorite holidays, and allowing her to share that space. And then doing a toast if you do toasts, or just go around the table and say things that you're thankful for. I know that's what we'll do. And, and to thank her for joining us in that experience. So, that definitely is one way that we can invite them in. Now, if it's somebody that you do have some unfinished business with, I have had a client just recently who's like, I really want to be able to connect with them, but I'm just not in that space to share that table yet with them. Okay, I understand that. We all have our feelings. We all have things that we have to resolve. We have to be able to heal and forgive self forgiveness first before we could move that route. But she still wanted to allow that energy and spirit to come in. So guess what she did? She set a spot for them at the bar, right? They had like those kitchen bars at the island. And so they may not have all been in the same room, but she acknowledged, like, you're allowed to come into my space, my home. I'm giving you permission. Here you go. And that's kind of how that all unfolded for her. So having that space, wherever that might be, and allowing them in at that moment, as long as it's for your highest and best out of love and light, you are protected and you can start to build that connection. So, why don't we take the first caller before we go to break, and then we'll continue on with ways that we can connect with our loved ones.
Sure, it's Umla calling in from Connecticut. Hi, Umla.
Hi, how are you, Dee?
I, oh
And
my goodness, I'm good. I love your energy. How are you doing today?
oh my goodness, that's funny. Thank you for that. I really resonate with what you were just saying. I just one comment, and then I have my question. Um,
Sure.
I did exactly what you just said. I called in the light beings and my angels, and I do that this morning, and it just really. I love what you said. It really uplifts your day when you do it in the morning, and the energy surrounds you. And permeates through you the entire day. So I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Yes. Um, I do have an intuitive question more than a loved one. I been doing a lot of work on myself as far as just really getting self care, self love, basically.
Hmm.
And so I really feel like I'm in a good place. I'm a writer myself. I'm on my third book, and I just was wondering where the relationship piece might be fitting in. If you see somebody special, committed coming into my life.
Got it. Well, I love that you're a writer. So, first of all, you can write that future relationship a letter, honestly, and you can ask them to come in, and you can, it's a manifesting, so I'm sure that you are well versed in how we can start manifesting. But I have a friend who made a vision board, honestly, and created that ultimate partner. And she had lost her husband to cancer and was looking to continue her life when she was ready. And what was funny is that the first manifesting board, vision board, if you will, that she created, she left a couple things out and got exactly what she wanted. And she was like, lesson learned, not letting that happen again. So, what they are showing me is to be putting something together for the energy that you want to bring to you. And your energy is very angelic, very high. I really love tuning in. That's the creative aspect of it for you. But you can also go into an automatic writing. So, I don't know if you've done any of that yet, but your guides are giving you a gigantic thumbs up on doing the automatic writing, connecting with spirit more, having them help you keep your energy at the level that you want of someone to come in. Because what they're saying is lessons learned. So I feel there's been past relationships to where you have had some difficult lessons, as you know, a lot of us have, but you have learned and moved on, and you've learned how to connect at such a different level. And the card actually is very unique to me right now. It's called Broken Open, and it's out of my energy deck, and it's about self healing, and it's about taking that quiet space, doing that meditation, allowing yourself to open up from that heart chakra and the solar plexus, allowing that energy to come through and to be fully engaged in your own self power in order to move forward. But with that being said, it's also taking that quiet time and really allowing yourself to be in that space of, what do I want? Right. And I think that's what they want you to answer. And you don't have to do it today, but really write down what your wants and needs are in a relationship, and what you don't need from someone would be key. This card says the gift of grief, being shattered as a result of loss, the potential and inherent in failure. And there is no failure. They're just lessons that we have taken away. And you're very successful. And I'm going to congratulate you now on book 4. Are you working on it yet? Because they're showing me you're not done. Does that make sense?
Book number 4. I probably do right now. It just is never ending. Yeah, I want to get this book 3 done by January, hopefully, and then maybe take a break. Being in the writing space, you're always in your mind. Sometimes it's just hard to get out of your head. So, um,
Absolutely. And that's where they want you to work on connecting on the human level. Absolutely, you're right. And it says, see the value of loss, grief, and broken hearts in the past, mend those, release what doesn't serve you. And it's going to bring you into that space. But I'm honestly not seeing anything happening until probably sometime next summer. So that when you finish getting out of your head and that writing aspect of it, and you start living back in that human life, you're going to have stuff that comes up that you need to let go. And they want you to do that first and foremost before you bring somebody into that energy, because you're going to bring in that same energy to you. And I'm going to leave you with that. I love that you called. Thank you so much. Please continue listening.
thank you.
All right, everybody, we are going to take a quick break. And after this break, we are going to have Jody come on, and she is going to talk with us as well about ways that she has been working through her grief and connecting with a loved one that has passed. So we will see you right after this break. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you very much for joining Eye of Soul Radio with me, Psychic Medium Jaime. Today's discussion is those times that we miss loved ones who have passed, of course. Now we're coming into the holidays. This has been quite a challenging year for us, global, not just in any particular area. And so allowing ourselves to find that space to where we can bring in our spirit team, our angels, and our loved ones during these pivotal times. So, with that being said, we talked about setting a place for your loved one in the previous section. Now, I want to talk about birthdays, anniversaries, maybe celebrating the life of the person. I have people that will do celebrations of life on the anniversary of their passing, and it's just acknowledging it. I have a lot of people that will go out to the grave sites, right? And I have done it myself. And you'll see people set up with picnics, or they'll bring a cake, or they will, go out there with flowers. That's something that my family did every year for ages. I remember as being a young child being at the cemetery, honoring those ones that have passed that are part of our family. Unfortunately, as time goes on, we start to separate from that. Maybe we move away from that space, but still being able to acknowledge the fact that they're there and that they're with us. I had a lady call in one time, or call in that I was reading, and her daughter came through, and she was probably 16, 17, 18, the daughter, and she had passed. And she was talking to her mom about a specific cake that was made within their culture and what they put in it and the colors and the roses on it. And she asked her mom to please start baking that again for her birthday so that they could celebrate as a family. And they've made that an actual tradition. And now sometimes they'll take that cake and they'll honor them at the gravesite. Sometimes, if the weather's not so great, then what they'll do is they'll just do a home. Um, they put an altar out, they have her cake, they put a piece out for her, they sing to her. And it's about that connection. So I want to bring Jody on now and have her kind of talk to us about the way that she's handled grief in her life and the way that she honors the memory of her late husband.
Hi, Jody, you there?
Hello.
Hi, welcome to the
Yes,
show.
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi, Jody. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Jamie?
I am doing great. Thank you for calling in and sharing your story because it is so inspirational and it does give people other ways that they can honor the memory of a past loved one. And what I love about you and respect about what you do is that you include the entire family and that you make that memory for your son um, and your daughter. And you acknowledge that grief part of it. And sometimes it's a good grief, like it's, everyone's kind of happy. And sometimes it is more of a somber moment. And so I just want you to kind of talk about what you do when it comes up to anniversaries and birthdays to still honor and celebrate that past loved one.
Well, it's been 11 years, and at first, what you see is you're supposed to mourn and be sad. And I really hated that idea because I felt that I wasn't sad about our love. I was happy about our love and our life together. And so I decided that on the first anniversary, I was going to make that day about happy things. And so every year I have done something fun. And we've just decided that that's a day to make good memories instead of being sad that he's gone. We've decided to cherish and share and like celebrate that he was in our lives and like the life that we have because of the life that he has given us. So um, I just decided that my mom always always puts a picture of her parents out on their birthdays and like always sends out text messages just to know this person would have been this day. And when I was younger, I was like, oh, it's annoying. Okay, go away. But now I'm like, oh, that was really she was showing a lot of honor to the people that she loves and making that space for them. And
Mhm.
as I was listening to you talk about make the space for Thanksgiving, I realized on my fridge, right next to like where our dining room table is, I have a picture of Mark sitting there so that he is always part of our family dinner. And I always look at him and I'm like, oh, look at you. And I talk to him. And he's just part of our family. And her husband now, he he doesn't have any jealousy or anything that he just knows that he's part of the family. So we're all able to just make all the different things happy. And sometimes we go to the Mark's gravesite, which has been less and less over the years, but we always take a picnic and just kind of like throw a party and have lunch with him and make it always about a light and airy thing. Sometimes there's lots of tears. Um, Last October, I on Halloween, not this one, but the one before, I was having a really rough time, and I just sat there and cried with him, and we laughed, and I played music, and I talked about our son, and we just had all these different experiences, and it was just a really, really good thing. So I just try to not make his passing a bad thing. I try to look at what he has given me and how my life is good because he was in it, even if he's not no longer part of it.
I love that. I love that. And thank you for sharing that because that might give someone else an idea of how someone who has worked through such a deep grief has been able to bring a family together in order to still honor and celebrate that memory in a place of peace and love. And so, I thank you for calling in, sharing your story. Have a fantastic day, my dear.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
So,
All right. So with that being said, there are times where we just wake up, like Jody said, and we might have that need to connect. Maybe all of a sudden we had a part of a dream or just felt them around. And so we can grab that cup of coffee, right? And we can make that date with our spirit team. We can make that date with our angel team, but we can also make that date with our past loved ones. And so it might be that I'll grab a cup of coffee and just kind of take a walk in the yard. And my other grandmother loved to be sitting outside and she loved to have her coffee or her tea and just connect that way. And so I'll say, hey, Grandma Etha, why don't you come on in? Let's sit down. Let's have a cup of coffee together. Now, what I want you to do is just allow yourself to be in that present moment. We all have the ability to communicate with spirit. We all have the ability to feel through our psychic senses, the clairs. So it might be through feeling, through touch, through hearing. And so allow yourself just to be in that moment, release the ego, because as soon as we let go of ego, spirit steps in, and allow yourself to be present with those energies, those people, those loved ones that you want to connect with. So, why don't we take the next caller and then we will go to break and discuss more on how to connect with our loved ones during the season.
Cynthia, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
You're on the air.
Oh, okay. Hi, Jamie. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, thank you very much for calling in. How are you today?
I'm hanging in there. So I guess my question is if any of my loved ones on the other side have any advice of where I should move to, if I should move back to New York or not. I mean, my late husband passed away in October. That was 3 years, but I don't know if any specific ones are coming forward or will from you.
Oof, okay. I have a female energy stepping through. You feel her around from time to time. It comes as full body chills for me with that energy coming through. She's got what looks to be like shorter hair. Having a hard time breathing. So I don't know if towards the end of her passing, I don't feel like she was a smoker per se, but like I feel like something really affected her breath. And I'm seeing maybe the oxygen tubes in her nose. She did pass probably somewhere in maybe her early 70s. I'm seeing her having some kind of gray in her hair. But I don't feel like she passed like 80s, 90s. I do feel that there was something that happened within her systematically. Okay. Like it was an illness, definitely that cancer vibe I'm getting from her. You have family back that way right now? Because I'm feeling that you feel very isolated and alone with where you're at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's really kind of weighing on you. You also had a trigger of some sort. So I don't know if it was a memory or something that's happened over the past few months that has actually kind of brought you more inward as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. You have the Call of the Muse card. And what I like about this particular card is that it is about going within and it's about finding the muse within ourselves. Processing. Are you sick and tired of processing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you're like, if I have one more person tell me to process or find a flipping butterfly, I'm going to lose my marbles, right? Um,
Yep.
you don't need to process anymore. You need to live. Yet I need that energy to bring yourself up and out of the space that we're in. And you are a very strong empath, so you're feeling the energy of others as well. And this lady who's coming through definitely feels grandmother. She's kind of a tough lady as well. So I still want to go maternal side of the family. And she's like, you got to go back home. There's connections there and ties. Do you have loose ends back home as well? I'm not saying they're all negative, but just things that you would like to kind of just heal and finish and move on with. Move
Yeah.
on.
I mean, I don't know. You really move on from family stuff, but
Well, we
uh,
don't necessarily, sometimes I get that. We can't completely move on and separate, but you can release yourself from that energy. And when we allow ourselves to cut cords and ties from those energies, even though we're still going to have to spend time with them, we free ourselves energetically. And so it might not be that you're able to completely move on based on some of the trauma that's gone on in your life, but they are saying going home is kind of what they're showing me is going to be beneficial for you. But I don't see that being your last stop. I feel like you might be there for a period of time. I do feel like there might be some help needed within the family coming up. And so, if we could just really focus on healing that part of it for you, but they are showing you in more kind of a rural countryside type area within the next 5 years. And that's that space for you to finally just be able to breathe. Does that make sense?
yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, it does.
Okay. So I definitely see the move. Absolutely. It will be trying at times. It's going to drain your energy at times, but at the same time, it's going to be okay because you're going to be able to move. You are going to be able to move past it. You are going to be able to move onward, but it's going to be on your terms, Cynthia, your terms for once, not anyone else's. And if they don't like that, then that energy cord gets cut. You still have to see them, you still have to interact with them, but you're no longer allowing these people to take from you. It's time for you to take back your own power. And that's exactly the message that they have for you today.
Okay, thank you, Jamie. That helped a lot.
Very much. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to hear from you next week when we're back on.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Have all right, have a good day. All right, you guys, we are going to take another quick break. And when we come back, we are going to speak with Lisa, who is on the phone right now, to talk about an experience that she's going through in her life and how she is working through some grief and connecting with a loved one that has passed. So we will see you shortly after this break. Hey, everybody, Psychic Medium Jaime here, Eye of Soul Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us today on KKNW. What we're discussing is those feelings of I wish that my loved one was around. I wish that I could connect. I wish that I would know when they're there. We talk a lot about signs in the line of work that we do and helping our clients and our listeners understand that our loved ones are always trying to get our attention. It's just the time and space of us opening up and allowing that to happen. And so when we have someone that's passed, now I know that there have been a lot of deaths this year, every year, of course, but this year we've been hit with so much going on, so much negativity that takes us into that kind of raw side of spirit of how do we navigate that, right? People are passing and they're not able to spend time with their loved ones before they passed. So if you look at all of those individuals that have fabulous doctors and nurses and the ones that are in there with, with COVID, who are passing and their loved ones can't share that moment and be with that person. And they've got the phone up so that at least that person that's lying there in that moment can hear the voices of their loved ones and their loved ones can see them one last time. And all of that grief gets stored within ourselves and within our body. And finding a way to process is so very, very important. So, with our next caller, we're going to bring on Lisa. And Lisa is newly going through grief. It's been about 8 months, I believe, from the passing of her father. And I've asked her to do something very difficult today, and that is to come on and explain how she's working through that grief and how they're going to be honoring his memory this Thanksgiving season. So, welcome, Lisa.
Hi, Jamie.
I appreciate you doing this. I know this is not an easy topic for you, and I know that you're working through this grief every single day, but I know the words coming from you and your energy can definitely help others that are in that same direction as you this year of losing a loved one. And how do we navigate through those holiday seasons with such grief within ourselves? And I love what your family's going to do, and I would love for you to share that with everybody.
Well, so my dad passed away right before COVID, or basically at the onset of it, not from COVID. And we have not been able to have a service for him. And so instead of like scheduling dates and then having to cancel them because of the whole COVID thing, we basically pushed it out for a year. But he went to the desert forever and ever, and Thanksgiving was always his favorite desert trip.
Mm-hmm.
And so, sorry. So we are going to honor him with his ashes over Thanksgiving in the desert where he loved it there. And we always all went for Thanksgiving there anyway, even if it was just for the day. And so they do like paddle outs in the ocean for people. And so what we're going to do is a paddle up, which is drive the dune buggies up the hill with his ashes in honor of him.
I love that. And I know it makes me emotional just thinking about the the times that you guys are bringing the whole family together, right? Grandkids, great grandkids for him, his dune buggy, right? It's his own personal dune buggy as well. Bringing all of that and him along for that ride and allowing you guys to just process and to honor him as well. Afterwards, after you go through that process and that emotional process, what are you guys going to do to lighten that energy, to reconnect, to be in that love space with one another?
Well, I'm sure that my boys will turn it into a competitive race up the hill instead of like, can you guys go slow so that we can capture this on film? And they're both were like, slow. Grandpa didn't know about slow. You don't go slow up the hill. And so, I'm sure it's going to be a fun time. We gave my dad's dune buggy to one of my sons, and because my other son already had one, and he rebuilt it as a dune buggy for himself. So he took most of the parts from my dad's buggy, so it won't be my dad's actual frame. But still, I'm sure that my dad is overjoyed that my Stephen is going to the desert with a dune buggy. So, it's our funeral, if you will, and so it's going to be emotional, but we'll still have a good time. It helps that there's little ones, ages 8 down to 7 months old, and so they make it fun no matter like how sad we are. They'll make it fun because the love and joy of the whole family will be great.
I love that. I love that. Everybody coming together and everybody honoring him and honoring the memory of one another. And I can't wait to hear the story from when you're done to see who won getting up that mountain, that hillside first, and to know your dad is with you, standing there laughing with you the entire time, shaking his head, saying, "Did we expect anything less?" I appreciate you calling in and sharing that story and giving that, that peace and love and being vulnerable at the same time. That's something we're all going through right now. And so if you're going through a holiday season, to where this is the first season or even an anniversary or birthday of a loved one who's passed this year, just remember that just take that time, allow yourself to grieve, and then allow yourself just to fill with that love and light and connect and just invite them in to share that space with you. So thank you so much, Lisa, for calling in. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right, you guys. So let's go back to having that cup of coffee with Spirit, right? I will, like I said, get that coffee, head outside, and really connect on that level. I've got Rich holding, and I believe he's got a story of a way that he connects on just the day-to-day life of when you wake up and you are missing someone and want to connect. So let's go ahead and bring Rich on.
Rich, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for allowing me to call in.
I love it. Well, thank you for supporting us and calling in. So give me a background story here on how you connect with spirit on just a day-to-day life of, loved ones or friends that have passed for you. What do you do that might be able to stand some imagination in some of our listeners today?
Well, basically, I think what I do is I look for the signs. I look for, I'll look for a big thing for me lately is feathers. I see a lot of feathers left, and this could be after like sweeping the porch or something of that nature where you clean the area, you come back walking through, and there's a feather there, and then
Right.
there's always a feeling of who I get, who's attached to that feather.
And so when you do that, do you open up that conversation with them?
Yes, I'll try and open up a conversation with them, talk to them. Sometimes they'll talk to me. Sometimes they'll just I'll see like phrases maybe, or they'll give me some colors to look for. Just it's more of a feeling type thing.
I
But
love it.
Not just strictly for the holiday season. This happens, all year long with me.
Exactly. And that's the thing is grief isn't just subject to the holidays. Grief is subject to waking up one day and feeling great. And then a couple hours later, having something, like you said, a sign, or maybe it was a picture pops up on your phone or something along those lines that will then trigger that and kind of bring that up. And I love that you're like, okay, bring the signs in. I'm listening. And when you see them, acknowledging them. And that's what I want our listeners to do is that when you see a sign, maybe it is that, my grandmother loved tea. And so if I'm out, shopping or whatever, and I look over and I see a tea set, that's going to bring me to that space. I'm going to say, hey, Grandma, thanks for making me aware that you're with me at the moment. Why don't we finish our shopping together and let's just have that connection? Are you always talking to them, or is it more of just an acknowledgement sometimes that they're there and then just moving on with your daily activities?
It could be either or. Sometimes I'll talk to them. A lot of times I go with the feeling just to see, where they're at that moment. If they want to talk to me or they just want to spend time with me, then I'm more than
Perfect.
happy to go with it.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for calling in and supporting us today on our launch of ISL Radio. When we come back after these messages, we will finish up our discussion on how to connect with our loved ones during the holiday season and just everyday life. everybody. Welcome back to Eye of Soul Radio. We are going to appreciate and thank our callers today of sharing their experiences when working on their own with spirit, with calling in their family and loved ones, setting those spaces for them at the holiday season, maybe making those birthday cakes in honor of them. Maybe it's making their favorite food and dishes. I've had, clients who have done that as well. To honor their memory. People will set up altars, right? So we just had Dia de los Muertos, and I was doing a reading for a lady on that day, and she had her beautiful altar set up with offerings and pictures of them. These are the ways that we can connect with them. But we can also get up in the morning, grab our cup of coffee, and say, "Hey, Grandma, come outside and let's sit. Let's connect." When we ask, they will come in. So before we finish off our show today, I have to say that I will ask Spirit to come in before I do anything, any type of spirit work. And I asked them to show me what it is that I need to know. And what was very interesting is right before we started, I actually had to grab the scissors and run outside to the front yard. This is the last rose standing right now for our season here in California. And they told me to pick this rose. And this rose is for someone who's either watching currently or who is going to watch in the next few days. And it's all about the colors of this rose. It was very important. It wasn't go pick a red rose in the backyard. It was go pick this last rose off of our rose bush because the pinks and the yellows. This particular type of rose means something to them. I'm seeing rose bushes within the front of their house. They use my spirit dictionary so I can see it as what my grandmother used to have was just walls and walls of roses. This particular individual was a female lady. She probably looks like she's around 5'1", 5'2", so not very tall. She looks like she does have lighter skin. And definitely these beautiful, like almost crystal blue eyes. She used to wear her hair up. She'd have her smock or apron on. It was a place, obviously, where there wasn't weather, like where roses would die off. So she could have roses year round. And it's about the smell and the fragrant. And it's reminding you guys that our family will come to us in those ways as well. But that the message is for whoever's out there listening, and this can be for multiple people. Readings can also go for multiple people across the board, is that they want you to know that they are with you at the moment, that what's happening and going on in your life is just temporary. And they want you to step back and they want you to smell the roses. Go buy some roses this weekend, if you will, or grab a rose and put it in a vase. Acknowledge the beauty, but also get the picture out because there's a black and white picture of her and her rose bushes. She stayed in that house probably from the time that she got married until the time that she passed. And I do see where she did pass in the home as well. So I like to give as much detail as I can to specify that. But you can go to shadesofspirit.com or you can go to our Facebook page, Shades of Spirit LLC, and message us if this sounds like a loved one that's coming through for you. And I would be happy to expound a little bit on that message. Roses with the yellow, it's the warmth and friendship, joy, and gladness. So it's about connecting again on that friendship level. These flowers can also be used as a sign of remembrance or affection, right? So with that remembrance part of it, they're showing me that your grandfather would have been somewhere close to 6 feet tall and in some form of maybe the Army or Marines, because he's got a whole bunch of medals. And I wouldn't be surprised if your parents have some of the medals from your father or their father, grandfather figure as well. So this is for you. Take this, let us know. Shades of Spirit LLC, you can message us on that. I've been surrounded through tough times in my life, just as a lot of us have. And I have decided to surrender those lessons over to Spirit and to continue to grow and help others heal and stay connected with their past loved ones, their angels, their spirit guides. I also work in the lower realms, and that's where we come into this raw side of spirit. And this is where you're going to get more of that nitty gritty energy that comes through. Is that, I find my own inner healing work being able to work with energies from suicide, drug and alcohol overdoses, sudden deaths, some people that just weren't great humans in life and did some terrible things. Those energies have been drawn to me since I was about 4 or 5, and I never understood the concept of it. And what I've realized now is that when they started coming in, instead of fearing them, I had to empower myself and realize that these energies are not negative, that these energies are just looking for someone to help them, to see them, to feel them. Thanks to some great teachers along the way in my life, I've been able to empower my gifts in helping others healing their own trauma. And that's including spirit. Also, I've realized that it's an honor to be able to help both these worlds. And if I don't have the answers, I'm not going to make them up. We're going to figure out those answers together or connect you with someone that can. I also work with a lot of clients that have people pass of what they call taboo, right? A lot of families don't want to discuss the fact that, somebody in their family committed suicide, whether it's religious beliefs or cultural beliefs, but yet they want to connect. And I get those people often who kind of come slinking in the back door. They don't want anybody to see, or if they have a family, they will actually physically go somewhere else to have their reading done if we're doing it through Zoom or phone, because they don't want to be ridiculed. They don't want to be made fun of, and they don't want to be looked down upon. And yet they have that inner drive to know what happened and to help heal themselves and forgive themselves. I mean, that's the biggest part for us. And I want them to be able to ascend in that upward direction, right? Both physically and with that spirit form, because I don't judge them. There is no judgment here. That is not my place. And it's just allowing them to speak freely. And revealing that raw side of spirit is exactly what I've done forever. I will never hold back in my reading. So if you're looking for an honest reading, if you're looking for someone that is just going to say it the way it is, there's no sugarcoating the kittens and bunny rabbits. You're going to get exactly what spirit wants you to hear. Then give us a shot. Go to shadesofspirit.com. You can book appointments with myself. I'm doing readings through the end of the year for $88 for a 1 hour reading. So I encourage you to take advantage of that special. You can also jump on there and see that I work with Spirit Walker Nicole for Shades of Spirit. And you can get 2 mediums for, $150, and you'll be able to connect with your angels, your spirit guides. And then I bring in your loved ones, family, friends, and we give you those messages. Also, a lot of people are looking for direction. So we do a lot of directional readings as well, especially with 2020. That is the majority of my readings booking up are directional readings. Where do I go from here? How do I move forward? And then at the end, if we haven't gotten to the person you're looking for in spirit, I always give time for you to ask. And all I ask is that you tell me, I'd like to hear from John. I'd like to hear from Mary. I don't need to know anything else. And let me do the work of bringing them through for you and connecting that way. I know for me, I'm going to have that table setting set for my grandmother, and we're going to have those mashed potatoes. And you know what? I think this year, guys, I might hand mash them. That's going to be interesting for 15 people, but just to honor her and to just know, like, Grandma, I'm paying attention and I honor you and want you to be here with me. And that helps me heal even after all these years. 94-year-old woman, feistiest woman I've ever met. And she was there for me when I needed her the most. And I want to bring her back in and share that moment. I'm going to pull a collaborative card for all of you for the end of this show today. And it's going to be out of my Gaia book about connecting with Mother Nature. It's just a beautiful oracle. It's guidance, affirmations, and transformation. This card is surrender, healing, and release. And that's exactly what we're all going into right now. Surrender, healing, and release. Just an absolute beautiful card. She's in the water, which is a great way to release. It's a perfect conduit for energy. It talks about it's normal to feel sad when a relationship or friendship ends. And they're talking about the grief process, whether it be they're still here in physical form or when their life has actually come to an end and they've passed and crossed over. This healing card has showed up in our reading today to let us know everything truly does happen for a reason. So quit beating ourselves up. A lot of times we hold the I shoulda, I woulda, I just wish I could have done something differently. And that's not how our life path was supposed to be. We were supposed to be with these individuals for periods of time in our lives and learn these lessons to improve and further our own spiritual growth. So let's work on releasing that energy. Accept things as they are. The truth is what it is, yet it is also what it was and what it will be. And I love that sentence. The truth is what it was and what it will be because of you and what you're able to do. The last sentence here says, every day is a new beginning, yet nothing is ever lost, for its life is an endless cycle. What goes around comes around. Love is eternal. And I'm going to leave you with that message today that love is eternal. Release the energy that you have within yourself. You can find us on Transformation Talk Radio. Shades of Spirit will be on at 8 a.m. Monday morning, and you can find me on Thursday at 5 p.m. Transformation Talk Radio, Shades of Spirit LLC. And we also have our YouTube page as well. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next time.